So as you know, the greatest threat to America at the moment is the Delta variant. It's so frightening and so deadly that you have to put your mask on again, even outside, says the Surgeon General, and in your homes with your kids apparently too. I'm not kidding. So in-person learning now could be up in the air. There's talk of more lockdowns, meaning vaccinated citizens could be confined to their homes or to some sort of limited mobility, because apparently the Delta is that serious, that deadly. It's a game changer, don't you know? Which is why, in order to beat the spread of the Delta variant, the Biden administration has done something super powerful and yet unexpected. Flung the borders wide open to allow illegal entrants to flood in, many of them infected with coronavirus. So, as it turns out, our nation's laws apparently only apply to citizens. People who aren't citizens do not have to obey the law, which is a neat trick. So you have to be tested for the coronavirus to work at the post office. But if you enter the country illegally and you come across the border and you don't even have to be tested, or even if you are, it doesn't matter. You're bussed in, you're given a hotel room, you're taken to further in the interior to places like La Jolla, Texas, and placed in communities, even though those people that they're placing have been, and in fact, local news has confirmed a lot of these instances, confirmed contraction, positive cases with the coronavirus, which could be the Delta variant. Why would the federal government do this? You're probably wondering. Why would you mask your citizens? Which, by the way, people receive tickets for not wearing a mask. They've been arrested for this stuff. Why would you make your citizens do this and talk mandated vaccines? And many companies are doing just that to their employees. But then you do nothing to anybody who's coming across the border who is testing positive, and in fact, place them in communities, and they're just like going out and about. And in fact, in one town in southern and near the border in Texas, police were called because someone was talking to a group of people who had come in from across the border, and they were just out and about, and they'd said, yeah, they'd actually tested positive, and that person flipped out and called the police. So these are all really good questions. It's almost like they want America to get sick. I'm just, speculating here. It's kind of like when Dr. Fauci didn't want Trump to stop inbound flights from China, and he said that it wouldn't make a difference, and then they all said that Trump was racist. But then Biden just did this, he just did the same thing. Okay, in any case, Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, he signed an executive order to stop the transport of people who are coming across the border illegally, to transport them and put them up in hotels, because when anyone who wants to actually protect citizens and do their job with national security, that's exactly what you should do, right? You would do that, or you would remove them from their job. But the Biden administration, their action seems to indicate that they prefer that illegal entrants over their own citizens. They'll let people who are coming across the border do whatever, citizens, no. They're threatening now Governor Abbott with an order from Merrick Garland, Attorney General. Here is some of that. It says, quote, "This order," then they're talking about Greg Abbott's executive order, "would jeopardize the health and safety of non-citizens in federal government custody, federal law enforcement personnel and their families and communities, among other harms." And this is what Merrick Garland's accusing Abbott of. This order would exacerbate and prolong overcrowding in facilities, shelters, obstruct the federal government's arrangements with states, non-governmental partners to ensure that released individuals are transported for appropriate blah, 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 the end. Oh, for the love. So there you have it. So the logic from the Biden administration and DOJ's Merrick Garland is that the Delta variant will spread in overcrowded facilities and shelters filled with people who entered the country illegally. So the solution is to just let them do what they want. Put them up in a hotel, you ignorant bigot. Now, you would think if you cared about anybody's lives, that after this very deadly variant that we're all talking about locking down the country again for, if you cared about American lives, one thing you might do is maybe deploy the National Guard to the border to help out with Border Patrol, because there aren't enough Border Patrol agents, and the ones that are there are now also apparently contracting coronavirus and testing positive. Do what they did, do what Democrats did with the Capitol, right? They had all those National Guard members there. How many people? They had like thousands of them. And they had an 8-foot wall, by the way, one of those horribly bigoted, racist walls. They like putting up walls for their own protection, but they're against erecting them on the border for you. See how that works? So when the federal government ceases to take appropriate actions to safeguard its citizens, a state government should step in, and it did. Governor Greg Abbott did that in Texas, and maybe that's the lesson here. Red states, just as blue states did during the Trump years, maybe it's time to declare yourself all kinds of sanctuary states. Sanctuaries from stupid, irresponsible, and completely reckless federal government policies. I mean, just think about it. If you were to go out of the country and come back in and you tested positive, you would be disallowed entry. But if you snuck over the Rio Grande and did it, you'd be put on a bus and taken to a hotel and then just let to go wherever you wanted to go. Wow.